Hello, everybody. Welcome to IronGeek Cast number 221. You know the thing. How's everybody doing tonight?
The thing, the thing. How you doing? I'm coming to you live from beautiful downtown Portland today. Uh, Waiting for Autumn to get her hair done, and it's nice. I mean, we got like this pretty wooded area. We got lots of people around, and yeah, fun stuff.
Looking good, man. Having a good time. I like it.
Thank you.
What?
How's
I've
all
never
that
been up in the Northwest. I never make it
Well,
up north of SF.
yeah, I'm in Southwest Park over here. Nice
how's all
area.
that big nature, soaking in the nature, treating you?
Nature's nice, man. I like nature. I like all this stuff. It's very nice. It's certainly more fun than Long Island. Lots of interesting characters around here.
I got this
See,
little turd
Nathan,
hanging out with me.
yeah,
Nice.
see, what do you got there?
It's a baby cucumber. And
Awesome.
I
Window
also
go.
right here.
As a libertarian, I thought you would have been, growing something else.
I have a tray of dirt as well.
Yeah. So apparently, when I minimize this window, I just disappear.
Yeah, you have some lag there, Frank.
No, it's not lag. Whenever I minimize the window, my video freezes and it stops. This is a really shitty web app that they made for StreamYard, where whenever you go to a different window, it just freezes your picture in the current place you're at. It's annoying.
All right.
Anyway, so I can't see the Google Docs. I put lots of stuff in there for the show notes. I figure we should probably get this done like in an hour or so today, because Adrian said he's got some pressing issues he's got to take care of, and we'll do that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't need to necessarily report on a potential major crypto fraud situation.
Crypto fraud. Why don't you tell me what's the crypto fraud?
Well, there's a project that they changed the rules on involving hotspot miners. It's not Helium, and the foundation is out of Germany, and one of the principals, developers, whoever this guy is, decided to make some changes and implemented it. And if you follow the guy's logic, it's just like a pyramid scheme. And
The old pyramid scheme crypto mine. Yeah.
and then with some Ponzi added on to it, like forced staking or long-term staking to get rewards and crazy stuff. Okay, and stuff that they're really desperate to not have people sell the crypto for wages.
Yeah, because if you sell the crypto, then they have to cash out.
Well, no, they don't have to cash out. I mean, the crypto is mine, but what I think that they've done is instead of actually using a formula that increases the amount of the volume of the crypto, they're using miners they're forcing them to stake it in the miners so they can borrow it and distribute it out to other miners for their earnings. And then and if you withdraw your tokens, then you get penalized earnings.
So it sounds like they're committing your tokens into a DeFi contract that when you try to reclaim your tokens, you're breaching the contract that you.
Nathan, man, you're echoing quite badly. Can you turn your speakers down?
Well, this is not a staking contract. There is no staking contract. They just threw this in. There is staking, and then they wrapped the one token with another token that is staking to increase more reward staking rewards. That's a different thing, but that also is suspicious because they have some of these staking contracts that are 2 years. And your typical DeFi staking is only about 3 months.
Wow. Sounds like a big scam to me.
Well, that is what is appearing. I mean, but just by following this guy's words, his name is Siwon or whatever, using his description, I can see the pyramid. Okay, because the thing is, if you have one of these miners, and they say you to have 100% miner health and maximum earnings, you have to keep all your tokens in the miner. And as you keep mining tokens on the miner, that fuel tank increases and keeps on increasing. So the only way if you take out tokens and cash them out to like pay for taxes or get your return on investment, the only way to put it back so you get 100% earnings is to buy the token and put it back in there. There is your pyramid, because
that's definitely a pyramid scheme.
Yeah, somebody's been doing it for a long time. You know, their fuel tank is huge, mandatory. Somebody just started with, it turns on their miner. They can have 0 tokens and they still have 100% earnings. So there is your, crypto Ponzi. And then when they, they're so freaked out about people cashing out their tokens, and mining is a taxable event. So what do you expect? It's for liquidity to give to somebody else. There's your Ponzi.
I understand, Nathan. In the area of there's a lot of feedback here. So with crypto, there's 2 other things I want to touch on. One, China has decided they're going to go green, and they're kicking out half the crypto miners, which means Texas. They're going to Texas for some reason. And if you got money, I would buy money in a Texas data center. Like, put some money in there. And like when they come and they're like, we want to put our mining rigs here, you'll make all your money back. But I don't know. The other thing I wanted to touch base on with crypto was Ethereum. There was something about Ethereum in the news, and it's probably in the show notes that I can't pull up, and I forgot. But there's something going on with Ethereum.
Hey, question about Texas. Isn't Texas going through like a massive heat wave? The infrastructure is falling apart, and there's all this heat, and people are dying and shit, and they're going to take that and go into a data center? I mean... Yep,
they are.
Yep.
How is that working out? I mean,
but let me also reiterate that commercial electric it is different. And even with my electric, some of these electricity contracts, they say you have to use a certain amount of kilowatt hours per month to get your best rates. So they actually are encouraging you to use more electricity.
Right.
And of course, now I'm in an apartment. It's a little bit different, but they're saying, well, you need to save electricity. Well, gee, I'm keeping my place at 73 degrees all the time because I'm keeping my equipment cool, because I got, lots of money in, graphics cards and stuff like that, and I am mining Ethereum. And there's supposed to be a new a fork of Ethereum that's going to reduce some of the earnings, but it's not. They're not going to proof of stake until next year. And I'm making some decent bank on it now. Actually, let me see. Well, my hash rate is down a little bit right now.
Your proof of work mining Ethereum?
Yep.
Okay. Is my audio better now that I went hardwire?
Sounds good to me.
All right, good. Yeah, so I don't know. The whole Ethereum thing is to me very questionable until August, September, after that whole EIP 1559 thing goes through, and we see how the miners react.
Well, I'm working on some VLANs and stuff like that, and a couple things I'm doing. I'm going to be doing CPU mining for like Monero and Monero Ocean, CPU mineable coins, because I got a bunch of desktop systems. I actually bought pre-builts to get the GPUs, so I'm going to put the some of these desktops to work, and then. I'll be spec mining some other coins, like Ergo and Raven. There's a few of them. And
So the new RTX 3070 graphics cards that if you can manage to get your hands on one are artificially crippled in such a way that they will not be able to successfully mine Ethereum. You'd be able to mine it at about 10% capacity of a normal like RTX 3080, or they're intentionally crippling it so that crypto miners won't buy them all.
Well,
and I'm sure we are literally a firmware update away from taking that artificial restriction off the card. I think they're just doing it to mess with miners.
It doesn't matter, because proof of work is going to be out the window for proof of stake in July.
No. Proof of stake is not going to happen. They're going to try to start rolling it out in January of 2022. But the way they do things, we probably won't see it till March. And by that time, I'm going to be, mining other coins anyway. I mean, it just depends. And there's also Ethereum Classic. And as far as the new 3070 Ti, if I can get my hands on one of them, then I'll just mine another coin with that one. And
hey, you got any cards laying around that you'd be willing to sell me? I've been trying to find a decent graphics card for a while.
I got them all. Like I said, I'm repairing one. I got to put thermal pads on it, but I got them all working.
Yeah, we'll talk later, Nathan.
I bought. All right, so here's one thing you can do. Okay, so if you got, say for example, you go and you buy an EVGA, like what did I buy? So you can get a step up agreement with EVGA that sometime in some months they'll sell you a super graphics card if you buy one of their cheapest ones at retail, and it was only like $50. I got an EVGA 210 brand new off of Walmart.com, and so I registered it, and so I applied to trade it in for a 3090.
I didn't know that was even a thing.
Sure is.
So I did something similar a couple months ago where I tried to buy a 1022 so that I could buy a couple boxes of 556, and I got shut down. But it sounds like the same retail scam.
No, they do it. I mean, there's a huge allocation for it. I mean, so you might have to wait like 2 or 3 months. And GPU prices are starting to come down, except for AMDs. Those are the most expensive. And
well, that's also due to the chip shortage, which we have an article on the chip shortage also. Not that we're going to read it, but I mean, the TLDR there is essentially we have more demand than supply, and
True, but like AMD is, I think, relying on TSMC, and NVIDIA is using Samsung. Okay. But I think that Intel, if you looked at the specs of their new Arctic 2 GPU, that is going to be a miner's dream. That's going to blow all of the other GPUs out of the water.
Well, that's good. Maybe the miners will buy that one, and I can finally get a freaking graphics card. Because I bought a 2080 like a year and a half ago when I was building my system, and it's still great. But I need another card now. And when I go look, everything is sold out everywhere.
Yeah,
I cannot find any place. I've even got a friend who pays to be a member of a Facebook group where they give you hints on where to buy them, and he even is freaking empty. He doesn't know.
I can give you all the hints I know all the links to notifications. I get notifications in Discord all the time. Here's a GPU in stock here. Forget about Amazon. The buy bots can get them too fast. Best Buy will probably drop next week, either Tuesday or Thursday. AMD will drop on Thursday. Zotac, which is kind of weird, in Pacific time, they'll drop about 7 or 8 o'clock Pacific, and you have to get into a queue. And once it gets congested, there's no way. I'm trying to think of who else.
Can you put together some of this stuff for me? And like I'll look through it because I'm not gonna remember it. I might have to rewatch the cast to figure it out. But
oh yeah. I mean, there's a whole bunch of information about finding GPUs. But let me tell you something. Your 2080 is still one of the most powerful GPUs out there. So don't get.
I got the Super though. I got the 2080 Super. I didn't get the Ti.
Well, it's still that thing is a monster. It is a great card.
Agreed. When I run the Passmark test, it still comes up in the 98th percentile. So.
Yeah. So you got all the GPU you could want. I mean, unless you're going to go to a 3090 or something like that. I
want to get either anything that's like above a 970. I want to get. I just need another graphics card for a system that can play like The Witcher 3 and stuff.
The 2080 is well above a 970.
I know the 970 is way low, so I'm looking for like a low end to medium. I don't need necessarily to get another 2080, but I want to get something that can play like City Skylines and like The Witcher and stuff.
And I've got an RTX 3070. Where does that sit in the spectrum as far as mining goes?
That's a great card. That's 61 megahash per second.
Wow.
See, now, I was able to get one of those without even blinking during the shortage. And the thing is, what I did was bought a pre-built.
Yeah.
Because people are all scrambling for the cards. You can buy a pre-built, take the card out of it and resell the parts and almost break even.
I actually was helping my friend Joe build his machine. I had him do that exact thing. He bought a pre-built over at Micro Center for like $1,400, and then ripped a $900 graphics card out of it and resold the motherboard and stuff, and actually made a profit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, everybody's doing that now, and the right now the market on eBay is flooded with motherboards and GPUs and memory.
Yeah, I've actually noticed some of the memory is bullshit memory. It doesn't actually work. I grabbed some DDR4 64 gig modules to upgrade, and the modules didn't work. So at first I thought it was the motherboard. So I tried another motherboard. Freaking RAM chips didn't work. They were completely bad. And then I finally got them working in one motherboard, and then went to go run the mem test on it, and they were 4 gig modules.
You bought some counterfeits.
They were like 4 gig modules that were made to look like 64 gig, and like they wouldn't even turn on in most motherboards. I finally found one that it worked in, and when I finally ran the test, it was definitely counterfeit. And I tried to return it, and they told me it was more than a month, and they wouldn't let me return it.
Where'd you order it from?
Random eBay store that had decent price on it. Yeah.
Yeah, I would file a fraud complaint.
I've noticed whenever I order something from a Chinese company, it's kind of iffy on whether or not it's actually whatever ratings it is. Especially like laser.
Yeah, definitely don't buy anything from Wish. You're gonna get scammed. But like, there are some companies that, if you buy like places that just grab stuff from the Shenzhen marketplace and will ship it to you, sometimes you can get some good deals on some cool stuff. But most of the time, you're gonna get scammed.
No,
what the hell are you buying from Wish that's even vaguely technical? I haven't seen.
They sell
anything.
motherboards and graphics cards, and they're all like fake. Like you can buy like a 2080 on Wish for like $400, and when it gets to you, it's like a repurposed older graphics card where they put custom firmware on there, so it looks like it's a 2080 in Windows Device Manager, but you try to game on it, it'll crash.
Yeah, they fake processors. They delete and put another cap that makes make a Ryzen 9 look like, but it's actually an old Athlon or something like that. I mean, they've done stuff like that and sold it on eBay or even Newegg stores. So don't buy from any Chinese store And here's the problem: on Amazon, you can't tell. You think, oh, U.S. shipper, and they're lying to you. I mean, one of the Newegg sellers says ships from U.S., and it was it took it was like a month, and they still hadn't shipped it because they were mailing it from China. So I complained to Newegg, and they gave me a refund. And then another month, the thing came in. Okay.
Yeah, it was probably counterfeit too, right?
No, it was like a test bench board. It wasn't that expensive, so I could mount a motherboard and cards on it and stuff like that.
Yeah, I got one of my systems in a test bench system right now.
Yeah. And so, but the point I'm trying to make is sometimes you can't tell, and so because they will say ships from U.S. and you really got to look them over. And by the way, that company that did do that disappeared from Newegg. So, I mean, these guys
they're fly-by-night operations. They'll just open up under another name. They do the same thing on eBay. Like sometimes they'll be the same shop name and they'll just append the number to it. It's a huge scam. Like they get caught, they just open another one.
Yeah, I know. It's bad. I mean, yeah.
So basically, only buy sex toys from Wish.
Don't even buy those. You don't want to get something broke off inside you.
No, you probably want to get that from Amazon because it may be made in China, but usually they're pretty good about it.
Yeah, it's amazing actually when you dig into it, the amount of sex toys that Amazon carries. It's pretty interesting. You wouldn't expect it.
The return policy is pretty interesting too. You try and return a sex toy to Amazon, they'll be like, "Yeah, you can just keep it. We'll give you your money back."
Yeah, they do that.
Well, they do that with a lot of things.
How do all you guys know this?
Yeah, that's actually a whole scam people got going. They mark down which things Amazon does not want back, and then they go out and buy a bunch of them from different Amazon accounts, and then cancel them all. And they're like, "Hey, Amazon, I want to return this," and Amazon's like, "Keep it."
All right. Well, let me tell you what I did. I did buy a couple of pre-builts. Actually, I bought 4 pre-builts. I bought 2 HP Omens, and I bought 2 ABS 3080 systems. And okay, and the ABS systems were very expensive because they had EVGA FTW Ultras in them. I mean, high premium graphics cards. And so, yeah, that was, with tax and everything, shipping and everything, that was about $3,000 a piece. But,
wow.
But they came with like 32 gig of decent, they came with Asus tough motherboards. They came with good Intel CPUs. I mean, really good quality components, terabytes of M2 flash, solid state. The only thing, in a good case, good fans. They have all-in-one, coolers, liquid cools. So great systems, and I didn't have to do anything to them to get them running. There was no loose parts. The cable management was great. Everything was good. So you pay for premium, but the parts were premium too. I mean, G-Skill RAM, the whole thing. The HP Omens were, one of them was I got the 3070 out of, and I got a bunch of discount. I got like about $350 off on discounts. I think it was like Memorial Day weekend or something. And the other one was a 3080 that I bought from Micro Center, and that one I got for a little over $2,000.
I miss Micro Center. I had one within walking distance of my old house in New York. Now I'm in Portland. We got no Micro Centers.
There's no Micro Center. Yeah.
I got one that's a 10-minute drive away, but the checkout process is such a motherfucker.
So you get all your shit online, right? And you put it in your cart, and you're like, "I'll pick it up at the store." And when you're at the store, you go get your shit you're gonna get at the store as well, and then you go to the line for checkout for stuff you've already purchased online, which is usually a lot shorter than the other checkout line. And while you're up there, you'd be like, "Hey, I got these things in the store. Also, can you bring them up?" Sometimes I'll only put like a thumb drive in my cart for the online order. And then I buy all my shit in the store. I go to the online order section to check out with all my shit, and everybody hates me.
Well, that's a good thing.
I now love you. Jeez. I was in there for some memory a couple weeks ago, and it was just this a tree took out a power line, and I had to sit in there for an obscene amount of time to buy memory.
Wow. I worked at Micro Center when I was in college many, many years ago, back in the Stone Ages. And they had these cash registers at the time that when you went to go use a credit card, the sign pad didn't work. And you'd have to ask the person like 4 or 5 times to sign their name. And people get really pissed at you because they would just, like, they sign it, it didn't register. They sign it again, they click OK, it didn't register. And I figured out that if you unplugged it and plugged it back in, it would automatically accept whatever you wrote the next time. It was like a debug thing. So I kept unplugging it and plugging it back in. Eventually I got fired for doing that. But I did put in many complaints about the machines not working. So, yeah. Fun times.
Well, Frank, let me suggest that you get on the Best Buy train, because when Best Buy does a drop, a lot of times it's also regional. So only graphic cards from Best Buy stores within 250 miles of you will have them in stock. Now, Portland.
Got it. Get a bunch of VPNs, set them to different destinations in the U.S., monitor the Best Buy store with a web scraper, and find out when they're going to sell it. Get an alert sent by text message. Log in. I got it. I'll build it tonight.
Well, you can do VPNs, but you got to physically go to the store and pick up the card and pay for it.
Now, I'll get a runner.
I'm for hire.
Yeah, actually, the scalpers do that. Okay, for real. I mean,
without a doubt.
I mean, I don't know if they're making as much now, but for a while there, some of the scalpers in electronics were making about $20,000 a day. They had that big of an organization of people doing, shill buying for them, and they were, it was like 80% of a line for Micro Center waiting overnight with scalpers. They set up tents and everything else.
Oh, yeah, I know those peeps. I was outside my local Micro Center, and I asked what a line was for once. It was only a few months ago. I'm like, hey, what are you guys all here for? And they're like, we're here to get the graphics cards. I'm like, I go to ask them about their system, and they tell me they're just buying them for somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're buying,
I think the max was you can only buy 3 of them at the time, but these people were just staying out all night to camp for the morning when they were going to release them.
Not only that, but it's a one every 30 days, and they're having to. There's some kind of virtual thing. They don't want people camping out anymore. I guess there's fights or something going on. Crime.
Orgies. There's orgies happening.
Well,
okay, now wait a minute. You're talking about orgies of computer geeks waiting to get video cards. What exactly kind of orgy are we talking about here?
They all look like
I'm not here to judge. It's none of my business.
I'm not here to judge either. I'm actually curious because
how curious are you? Let's go.
Well, I think look, I'm the first person to say anything's the dildo if you're brave enough. But what I'm saying here is that, what kind of orgy is that? I don't think we're going to be looking at the old school Roman orgy here.
Look,
well, you see, the thing is, they get a bunch of tents, right? And they set them up outside the Micro Center, and then they go and they have sex in the tents, and it's very intense.
Oh, most likely what they're doing is pooping and peeing in the containers inside the tents, and then leaving them around the parking lot outside of the Micro Center.
Okay, adult supervision is here. Let's get on to the show notes.
All right, hold on. Listen,
I can't see them. Otherwise, I'd be reading them already.
I want to jump right to this nation state accusations, because that's what I'm here for.
Do it.
Let's do that.
Let's jump there.
All right, right to it. Everybody goes, Bitcoin's the reason for all this ransomware. Bitcoin's the devil, and it eats up all this evil energy, and everything's terrible. Today, Biden and fucking Putin just said, hey, look, dude, you stop with the ransomware, I'll stop with the ransomware when it comes to critical infrastructure. It's the nation states. Again, it's the fucking nation states putting the bad name on the freedom seekers.
Yep. Well, it's not.
Well, the other thing is the nation states, right? they are behind, like you said, a lot of the ransomware stuff. Whether or not they're willing to admit it or not, even in their private talks, like Biden talking with Putin, they definitely came to some arrangements. Like they're like, if you have a criminal in the United States and he's wanted in Russia, we'll send him to you, and you do vice versa. So we can extradite those ransomware people. But it goes further than that, because the price of Bitcoin and the price of power and this whole bullshit that we've got going on here, where people are like, Bitcoin's killing the planet. It's not. I mean, there are plenty of ways you can mine it cheaper, where you're not using like gas-powered electricity or coal electricity. You can mine it all freaking solar. And I think the initiative to do like clean mining is nice. It is. It's very nice to have like clean mining where we're going to be using solar in Texas to mine Bitcoin. But that wasn't supposed to come off. The thing that I find that's crazy with the nation state actors right now is that we're saying we're going to give you a wanted cyber criminal if he's based in the U.S. We're gonna have a treaty with you, like an extradition treaty, but it's just for cyber criminals. It's not for other kind of criminals. Just for cyber criminals, and that's kind of new. I don't think I've ever seen that happen before.
Well, I mean, it kind of harks back to the days of spies. Does it not? Right?
The way they used to handle
we're going to trade spies. You give me yours, I'll give you. You give me mine back, I'll give you yours back. Right?
Yeah,
like you can keep my henchmen. You can have my knuckle dragging window breakers. You can have them all goddamn day, but you can't have my valuable guys. You can't have my smart guys. Those are more than pawns. Those are bishops and rooks. Those will reimburse.
Right. So what else do you have to talk about, Nathan, with the nation state stuff in the show notes?
No, that is it. That is all. They admitted today publicly in Geneva that they are both the big actors for cybercrime related to ransomware. So fuck them. That argument no longer exists.
All right.
Right.
Well, anyway, to put when you brought up concerns about Bitcoin mining, for example, let me give you the simple facts. 100% of the ASIC miners are made in China, and they're not very efficient. They're not even that sophisticated. They just do one thing, and that's do the algorithm for Bitcoin. Or they have Ethereum miners. They have all sorts of miners, and they use a lot of power because there's so many chips.
What about using an FPGA instead of an ASIC?
Well, it's X-Link and Intel, and I mean, Intel could make some really good algorithm miners, okay? And they could do it very energy efficiently. They're some of the low-power leaders as far as wafers and stuff like that. So they could do it.
I got another question. I know jack shit about quantum computing. But I've heard people talking like, oh, wait till they get a quantum computer and it starts mining Bitcoin and it'll be game over, man. And I don't think there's any merit to that, because just from what a little I know about it, it sounds like complete bullshit. But is there anything to that, you think?
There's merit to it, but it's going to be a while before you can go down to Radio Shack and buy a quantum computer.
Right, but I mean, you hear stories about people in universities building them from off-the-shelf shit.
Yeah, it's not going to happen like that, okay? First of all, most of the crypto algorithms are quantum resistant. Okay.
True.
All right. So it's just not going to work. And the thing is that quantum states are. I mean, they're hard to maintain. Okay. I mean, they've been working on quantum computers for a long time, and you can actually lease a quantum computer or something like that. I see them.
Well, you can lease an AWS. You can get a system with a super badass graphics card attached to it. It's like 100 times more powerful than a freaking 3080, and you rent it by the hour for like $4 an hour.
No, you won't. It's not. the fastest GPU I think NVIDIA makes is like the A9000. I mean, even their workstation server class cards are not beating the 3090, and neither is AMD. I mean, you have to. I've looked up the specs on all of them.
Next one. There's a service out there called Shadow. It's $12 a month. They let you rent a gaming rig. I've been trying to get on their list forever because they don't have enough like slots right now. But I was thinking if you had one of those up 24/7, and you're paying $12 a month for it, and they got a 1080 or equivalent attached to it, you could probably mine more in crypto using that system than you're paying for the electricity and stuff for your weekly or monthly bill.
Well, let me tell you something about mining. Okay, you have to do the clock settings properly to do mining. Otherwise, you're going to burn out your card. All right.
Yeah.
And you're going to use a lot of power. I mean, you lower your GPU clock and you raise your memory clock, and you get the settings optimized, and you lower your power.
Do you have to be in the BIOS to edit those settings, or can you do it from within the OS?
No, you can do it through MSI Afterburner and some other programs, but you got to get it right, and you have to you just have to do it right.
But if you're renting a rig from a company and they're just attaching a graphics card to it, do you really give a shit if they burn out the card?
Wreck it.
Look, they might spank you for that if they know you're crypto mining on it. They might have something in the clause in the rental contract says no crypto mining.
Right. Another thing I saw, I was essentially reading this article about a guy who was trying to crack a bunch of hashes, and he so he rented the AWS instance that had a really good graphics card attached to it that's used for scientific computation.
Yeah.
And he used that to crack all these hashes very, very quickly. That normally would take him a long time with even like a 3090.
Well, that's using an array of GPUs and servers. Okay.
Yeah, it was using it's a thing you can rent that's done for like doing oil, like trying to figure out where oil is underground. That's like the main use they built that thing for.
Processing. Yes, I used to do navigation for that. I worked there. Yeah. So I know the stuff very well.
Very cool. All right, what else is in the show notes?
All right, I got show notes open here. Let's see. Okay, the first one is White House regulatory regime related to crypto related to ransomware. Okay. I mean, Bitcoin, they can trace Bitcoin, so.
Yeah, unless you use a Tumblr. It's a little bit harder to track it that way.
Okay.
What else do we have in the show notes?
P2P vulnerability. Let's see. Let's see if I can open this one up. Okay, ZDNet. CISA warns manufacturers of ThroughTech vulnerability. So CISA and Nozomi Networks Labs found a ThroughTech P2P vulnerability that gives attackers access to sensitive information like camera feeds. CISA has released a new ICS advisory about a vulnerability found in a widely used ThroughTech tool that gives attackers access to audio and video feeds as well as other sensitive information. On top of the potential for data and video leakage, the company admitted that the vulnerability allows attackers not just to spoof a device, but to hijack a device's certificate. CISA gave the vulnerability a score of 9.1 out of 10 on the CVSS vulnerability severity scale.
Yeah, that looks like a very useful vulnerability to have a POC for.
It sounds like the security cam company that got they had the sales port open on all their cameras. Remember those guys, the cloud-based? I think it's
I remember. That was some hacker went to jail for that recently. For hacking all those accounts.
Was it Nest or something else?
It starts with a V, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, it wasn't the Nest cameras. It was camera feeds that were used in like where they have Tesla. It's in the show notes from a few weeks ago. That hacker got caught and went to jail, but he didn't go to jail for hacking the cameras. He got caught for something else he did.
Yeah, we almost bought those cameras. Thank God for LEDs. We replaced all the LED lights because that would have been a bigger return on investment than security cameras.
Yeah, the IR LEDs paired with a decent security camera make it really, really good. Take a shitty security camera and toss in IR LEDs, it's a little bit better too.
Well, I can't. I'm not worried about the camera company because they got the salesperson got really mad at us for dropping them that year, but they were outvoted.
All right. What's next in the show note?
All right. So, and by the way, this ThroughTech thing sounds like they could just do a good firewalling and that stop this problem. The problem lies in just not keeping their stuff,
A lot of companies allow outbound everything.
Yeah, that's dumb. All right, Google opens first Pixel store. Okay, so why do we care?
Yeah, let's just skip that one. Go to the next one.
FBI aims to keep valuables. 86 million cash found in safe deposit store raid. That's not cool.
Yeah, man, those simple forfeiture rules are a bitch.
Yeah, they're thieves. That's called stealing. Okay, the thieves. Move on.
Yeah, and that's a YouTube and okay.
Is that one of those anonymous places where you can anonymously, no ID, no nothing, rent a vault kind of thing?
I don't know.
But we had a spur of those here in Vegas over the last couple of years, and every time they shut down, it's the same damn problem. Somebody ends up keeping everything that's inside of it because there's absolutely no way to tell who owns what.
That doesn't mean that the FBI can just steal it.
No, well, no. But the thing is, they're. What are you going to do? Are you going to say, "Oh yeah, that $6 million and that half pound of cocaine in safe number 12, yeah, that's mine"? It's got to go.
Well,
somewhere.
no. So yeah, what you do is you go like, "Well, that's not mine. I can't take it. I can't touch it." If they can come sneakily get it out of here, it's theirs. They win. That's the way it works.
But if you can't, I mean, what are they going to do? That's going to be. They'll probably hold on to it as abandoned property, and by standard law, you don't claim something after X many days; it goes somewhere.
Well, I mean, if your car gets towed, right?
That's completely different. Completely different.
How?
Car has a title. Car has a license plate. You say your car gets towed.
That kind of sucks, right? That sucks.
Yeah, but the thing is, there's ownership there. There's ownership there.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. These
places, right? These places are completely anonymous. No name, no paperwork, no nothing. You have the key to Vault 1, 2, 3, 4. You come and go as you please. And there's nothing to connect you to that whatsoever. It's completely different than having a car towed. Car towing is worse than theft. It's extortion. Okay, it's extortion at the worst level because once you get to the tow lot, they're going to say you can't give your car unless you give us 500, 600, 700, some arbitrary amount of money.
Well, no. This actually is kind of worse because at least there's like some type of like protocol in place where they justify the theft at a tow yard. However,
right? No, I'm saying
however,
it's justified.
In this situation, they're going, "Oh, you were also trying to be private on top of that. You can't be private. We're taking that shit. It's ours."
Yeah, the problem is, what if the shit's illegal?
Well, there have been cases where like old people crossing the country with their life savings in the trunk. Cops pull them over, take the life savings, say you must be using this to buy drugs. Won't give it back to them. Drag it out for years in court.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Civil forfeiture, getting pulled over with a car full of cash, and it's gone. Yeah, that kind of thing happens, and that's shit. And there are places that are fighting against that.
Right.
But again, we're not talking about that. We're talking about anonymous, no trace, no ID, no paperwork, no nothing. A guy puts a vault He goes down to Costco and buys a vault, spray paints a number on it, and puts it in a warehouse. And you buy access to that. Okay? And they give you a key that opens the front door, and that's it. There's nothing. There's nothing to connect anybody.
Who typically buys the access?
A lot of people. They have been running here in Vegas for at least 10 years. It was about 10 years ago I saw the very first one come up. And very slowly but very surely they get worn down by law enforcement and they disappear and they reappear about 5 blocks later.
So there's a lot of people who might do it, but they get worn down by who?
The owners of the facilities get worn down by law enforcement or by other means. Because people make mistakes. People make mistakes.
What are the other means?
You can have, let's see, you don't pay your rent. You don't pay your taxes. You don't, you operate in a...
Oh, dude, that would be the best episode of that show where they buy the storage wars. Imagine they get storage wars. Yeah, that'd be great.
The thing is, there's coercion involved, absolutely. We are famous for it out here in Vegas. The only thing be worse than driving a car while being black in Vegas is riding a motorcycle in Vegas. You will get pulled over and you'll get the 3rd degree in an anal cavity search and you get pulled over to get gone through by a task force. It's hell. So I'm not saying this kind of shit doesn't happen. But the thing is that you can't really call it theft when no one wants to claim it. Who are you claiming it from?
Well, hold on. You can always call it theft if the wrong party claims it.
So who's the right party?
The proper owner.
Okay, and who's that?
Well, there was initially...
Right, who is it?
All right, here's what he's saying.
There's no way of determining who the proper owner is.
It's essentially found property at that point because it's all anonymous and no one knows who owns it.
Okay, fine. All right, fine. It's all anonymous and nobody knows who owns it. Why does one certain party get to claim it? And why is it consistently the party that coerces and forces themselves to be the new owner?
Because that's the American way. It's one of the biggest flaws, one of the horrible things, and I agree with you. I agree that it's wrong.
Yeah, it's not a flaw. It's a crime.
If it's a cop, I agree. However, let's say it's someone who's renting out storage units anonymously, and you haven't paid up in X amount of time. There has to be a certain limit to which you go, okay, I got to reclaim this space so I'm making money on it again.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I understand. So I don't have a problem.
And what happens when they go under, too?
If you own the storage, hold on. If you own the storage facility, and you in your contract say after X amount of time you're not paying, we just confiscate what's inside or sell off what's inside. I think that is reasonable.
Yeah, but that should be in the terms of agreement. And I agree with you. It should go into a dumpster that people can dumpster dive through. It should go into like an auction dumpster. It should go into a whatever. But it shouldn't be an isolated thing where it's like we now know the contents of this one thing. It should be a once-a-month thing, a 40-yard dumpster, and somebody can bid on the dumpster. Nobody knows.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
And the first time they come up with 150 pounds of cocaine, what's going to happen?
It can't be targeted, is the point.
So
it cannot be targeted.
Anything drug-related is going to be targeted.
Gentlemen, I got to go. My phone's about to die. I'm at 2%. I love you all. Please go through the rest of the show notes and find some interesting things to talk about. Autumn says hi. She just got her hair done. She's
hi.
All right.
Well, see you later, guys.
Hey.
Next
have a good time. Enjoy the weather.
All right. Just real quick. World Wide Web source code is going to be auctioned off as a non-fungible token.
I saw that, yeah.
For Tim Berners-Lee.
Mm-hmm. Great.
You get the source code from Tim Berners-Lee.
Cool.
If you win the auction.
Hey, it's an NFT. Good. It's a piece of history. Cool. My attachment to the cryptocurrency and blockchain space is, does it expand freedom? In this case, in my opinion, it does not expand freedom. It's a cute exercise. It's cool. Whoever puts value on that, and fantastic. I just don't give a shit about it.
Yeah. I was looking into that myself about getting some of my comic stuff put into NFTs, and it's a little crazy. But you know what? For all the sales and the auctions and all the money, I think it's still the people making them and validating them that's making the money.
And let's see, I can't get redirected to the ZDNet. I don't know why. I guess it doesn't like the browser I'm using.
What's the name of it?
Billions of records belong to CBS Health exposed online.
Holy shit, there's a lot of things. Yeah.
So you might want to read that one.
Okay. In another example of misconfigured cloud services impacting security, over 1 billion records belonging to CVS Healthcare have been exposed online. On Thursday, Website Planet, together with researcher Jeremiah Fowler, revealed the discovery of an online database belonging to CVS Health. The database was not password protected and had no form of authentication in place to prevent unauthorized entry. I don't want to read the entire freaking article. Does anybody have any opinions on this? That means another breach, I guess, or
it's another healthcare data breach that is, I mean, now that there's massive amounts of Panda databases out there full of these records. And of course, China just buys all the information. So I mean, that's the problem. Is the stuff? Was it a data breach or was it sold to China? And
it almost sounded like it was just found, but I'm not sure.
I mean, that's the thing. A lot of our personal data is sold to, like China. China's the biggest. They pay for everything. They buy everything. All right. So, how does one get hired by a top cybercrime gang? Okay.
How do you do it?
And let's see. DOJ last week announced the arrest of a 55-year-old Latvian woman who alleged to have worked as a programmer for TrickBot, a malware as a service platform responsible for infecting millions of computers and seeding many of those systems with ransomware. Just how did a self-employed website designer and mother of two come to work for one of the world's most rapacious cybercriminals groups and then leave such an obvious trail of clues indicating her involvement with the gang? This post explores answers to those questions, as well as some of the ways TrickBot and other organized crime, cybercrime gangs gradually recruit, groom, and trust new programmers. So that's Brian Krebs. You can read the rest of it. I don't know that the details are that interesting. It's just, and let's see.
And mother of two is kind of a bullshit claim because guess what? The majority of adults on the planet are parents. So I don't want to hear that, oh, this person was a parent. Stop making the appeal to emotion. The appeal to emotion has nothing to do with the facts of the crime or case.
Yeah, I like how a lot of people make out all this different type of shoplifting going on currently. It's like, well, people are just trying to feed their families. Is that really what they're actually doing?
Okay, and then it says...
there was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she turned to cybercrime.
Yeah.
Hey, why not?
And so here is the Cybersecurity 202 from the WAPO. The Justice Department is racking up wins despite encryption concerns. Okay, so the Justice Department has been racking up significant victories against criminals who rely on encrypted communications, even as it maintains that the strongest form of encryption makes its work harder. First, the department clawed back about $2.3 million that Colonial Pipeline had paid Russian-based hackers to unlock its computer systems from an anonymized Bitcoin account. Then the FBI joined global law enforcement in a blockbuster arrest of over 800 criminals it had tricked into planning operations on an allegedly encrypted messaging app that was secretly controlled by the FBI itself. That operation, dubbed Trojan Shield, was a particular coup because the FBI lured the criminals by promising just the sort of secrecy that had bedeviled its own operations for years. in the process, uncovering evidence of contract killings, robberies, and even cocaine stuffed pineapples. Okay, so that is the highlights of that one.
Yeah, so those grotesque pieces of shit had access to this information in real time and let murders happen. They wanted to obfuscate themselves until they felt that they collected enough information that they could drag enough, bad guys in. Well, at what point do you become the bad guy? You become the bad guy the second you let the first person suffer because of your fucking gross decision. This is really an unforgivable case of a few people in a branch of government deciding to literally play God with human lives that are now over.
Isn't that what happens with any government?
Yeah, I mean,
Any government does that. That's nothing unique.
well, I mean, you can look at all the cases of COVID. Wiping out
COVID, every time you
Yeah,
go
right,
to war,
right.
you send a bunch of
However,
people out to die. I mean,
However, in this circumstance, they're demanding praise for it. They're going, "Hey, we stopped some bad guys. A
and
lot
again,
of people
what
had to
government doesn't?
die."
Well, I'm just wondering if they got information on it, or they actually just did not disclose the information while it was happening. I don't know. I mean,
It could have been totally out of their control.
Right,
The minute the jig was up, people are going to start dying no matter what.
that's true.
right. So
Okay,
from what I
bad
understand,
guys are gonna bad. Okay, the feds move in on a mafia style group. The first thing they're gonna do is start offing each other so people will stop talking. I mean, who here hasn't seen Casino, the movie?
if
Okay,
only it
well,
was that innocent. If it
I was
was
thinking
only
of,
it's not a
that.
matter of innocent. Who fuck innocent? People are dying. That's
I
the
was
bottom
thinking,
line.
I was thinking of Goodfellas.
Yeah, no matter how you look at it, people die in this sort of industry. You can't pin that responsibility on
Yeah,
any
I
one
mean,
organization.
I'm not going to make the assumption that they.
Well, no, you most certainly can because there's one group of people that have titles and that wear a certain uniform that think that they can absolve themselves of their very brutal actions that result in losses of
Anybody can
life
do that.
incessantly
Anybody can
from
do
their
that.
direct actions.
Anybody can do that. Any government, any organization at all can do that. There's nothing special about that. Did you see in the news last week? Okay, a pregnant woman driving a car. She didn't pull over in what the cop thought was fast enough, so he did a bump maneuver on her, and she flipped and rolled her car.
Yeah. I saw the story about that
Okay,
poor
this
pregnant
is
woman.
nothing new. This
Right.
is
No, it's
nothing
not new.
new.
However, in circumstances like that, the argument can always be made that it was just a freak case or it was one bad guy. But no, in the
It's
situation that
not
we're
there.
talking
You
about,
trying to say
we're
one
saying
bad
that there was
cop?
a
Yeah.
coordinated effort to cover up a bunch of known deaths. That that murders could have been stopped, but we chose not to stop X amount of murders because we wanted to sneak around a little bit more.
That's based on the assumption that they knew about the murders. They could have been completely out of their control. Could have been surprised by them. Again, bad guys are
They
gonna
had real
bad.
time they had real time access to the
Also,
information.
also,
Bad guys are gonna bad. So what happens? You get real time information. You're listening in on the conversation. Bad guy A says, "Hey, bad guy B, we're gonna kill bad guy C tomorrow at noon." Now, okay, I think if they don't move on that, suddenly they're culpable.
No, I'm going a step back and saying you're calling the wrong person bad guy. All right. If two people consensually
I'm
go
going
into
from
an
the
agreement,
perspective,
if two
from the
people go into
perspective
an
of the
agreement,
government.
or there are two people that go into an agreement saying that, hey, if this doesn't happen or that doesn't happen, then we're going to execute some violence on each other or something like that. That's a lot different than having these government agents go, all right, we coerced a guy into creating a backdoor so that we can get out of a bad sentence. Then what we're going to do is use another nation, so we're not responsible. We're going to have another nation have real-time access to all this information, so we can still execute arrests and searches and stuff like that, but we'll let lives be lost. Because that was the whole cute thing is they had to bring in a third party nation, so
That's
it
any
didn't.
government, any organization on this planet. They do it every
And you still
day.
want to stop it. Okay, it is evidence. Maybe it is. But
You can't
still
stop
trying
it.
to
How
stop
are you going to stop it? How are you going to stop it?
So how do you then how could you dare call anybody a bad actor except for the government. There are people
Anybody
playing in
can
a
be.
weird
I can be
dark
a bad
field,
actor.
but it's not a bad actor.
Anybody can be a bad actor. It's a matter of a point of view.
So, and I don't know the
You know what? The guy that smashed in my car window to steal my parking sticker, to me, is a bad actor. I don't need a government to come in here and tell me whether or not it is.
right.
Okay, that person was a bad actor. It's a point of view sort of thing.
But no,
It's
let's look at
part
where
of.
let's look at where it's consensual. Let's look at where it's consensual.
let me-
Look at
Well, I
boxing.
certainly didn't give consent to anybody to break into my car, so I guess there's no consent there.
Right. So that makes him a bad actor. Now let's look at other things that are called violence. UFC fighting, boxing, football, and stuff like that. Oh, it's violence. It's not. It's consensual. It is not in the least bit violent. Now, imagine if cops ran onto the field and just started tasing and beating the shit out of everybody that engaged into a fight because of boxing or any other consensual combat. Right? That's what we're talking about here. So try to liken that analogy. And
That's
so
It happens all the time. We're going to start having it here in Vegas pretty soon.
right. So if
We got
people,
the football team in here. The people who say, "Oh, my team sucks, your team sucks," they start beating each other up, and the cops are
flipping
going to start
cars,
cleaning.
dude. I know.
So yeah, that's going to start happening. That's just the mentality of stupid people who think that they have a team and they have to defend their team. Meanwhile, they're paying $50 for a beer, $700 for a seat to watch people throw a ball. I mean, pathos aside, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
Actually, how many sports riots actually happen in the U.S.? Most of the ones I hear about in Great Britain seems over soccer.
The sports fights, they happen every time there's a major game, like a Super Bowl happens all the time. Whenever there's a major world championship, what do they call that shit in baseball? The World Series. This shit happens all the time.
Oh
These
yeah.
the people get hopped up on cheap beer, buy a $500 jersey, and say, "This is my team, and if you don't like my team, you suck, and I'm going to beat you up." I mean, this happens at the grade school level, for fuck's sake. That's how dumb some people are.
I'm from
Okay,
Philadelphia.
I like the Yankees. I like the Mets. Well, fuck you. Bang, bang, bang. I mean, it's
Well,
nature.
the funny thing is the bigger mayhem happens with the winning team, not the losing team.
Yeah, it doesn't matter win, lose, or whatever. They just want to fuck shit up.
Well, I know that. I mean, it's a phenomenon that's common in Europe. I mean, Britain, has the Yabo.
I would say they invented it. They invented it. I mean, the football riots.
Yeah. But
Go up to say Chelsea, say Arsenal, you're going to end up going home in a bag.
Yeah, who's the term football hooligans?
Right.
anyway, let's getting back to the actual show notes. Okay. Uber's software bug results in, let's see, what is it? Another pickup for Uber. Some drivers were being charged for giving rides. So,
Isn't that what they do?
no, the driver had to pay for it.
Oh.
It was a software bug, so they kind of charged the driver instead of charging the customer. Okay, so more problems with Uber.
TikTok.
Let's see what else. That was all right. So
How much longer is that gig economy stuff going to last?
it's already pretty thin, and if fuel prices go up, it's going to be, I mean.
Wasn't there some law passed in California for the sake of the labor unions that made it Uber kind of have problems? It's been a while since I looked at it.
Well, yeah, you already saw the shortage of truck drivers because a lot of, the chip shortage and.
No, I'm talking about something. There was some law that was passed about the gig economy because they said, well, you're exploiting these workers, but these workers don't necessarily want the rigmarole of normal employment. And I'm trying to remember what the proposition's even called.
That was the one where they forced the companies to have them independent contractors instead of something else. Is that what you're talking about?
I'm pretty sure they were always independent contractors before, but there was something that made them to be more than that. But both the company and the people who were working for them, like Uber and so on, didn't want that. Never mind. Forget I said anything. I don't remember the name of the particular.
Yeah, and I know what you're talking about. I don't remember the name of it either because we had something similar here in Vegas when they tried to get rid of Uber. But the thing is, the taxi mafia here is practically non-existent now. It's really not as powerful as it used to be.
Well, and also, let me tell you, I knew somebody who was doing some Uber driving, and just a few customer complaints. Just because they want to be spiteful, the Uber driver loses the job. Okay, and it could have, it doesn't matter if it doesn't matter if it was fault or not. It was just you're gone.
Yeah,
So,
that's the way the whole economy works right now.
So,
somebody says something bad about you on Twitter, you can lose your job just as fast.
Barry, can you repeat the NTF thing? Someone put that in the chat. I just saw it just now, and it was posted quite a few minutes ago. But James Smitty asked, Barry, can you repeat the NTF thing?
Non-fungible token. Okay.
I wasn't looking at the chat. Sorry about that, James.
Yeah, I mean, Well,
the World Wide Web source code being made into an NFT.
Let me see. Because
I can rip through it real quick if you don't mind.
Go for it.
Okay, so Bitcoins are supposed to be like dollars, where every single Bitcoin is exactly the same, just like every single dollar is exactly the same, except for maybe a difference of a serial number so you can differentiate them, right? But a non-fungible token is a way of issuing a token that there's cryptographic proof of issuance. However, each token carries very, very unique attributes, right? So naturally, the attributes that would be unique in this case would be the source code of the World Wide Web, and you would be able to check how many were issued, and then decide from there the scarcity and how much you liked it and what you think the market demand would be and everything like that. So it's like creating a Bitcoin based exclusively on this one non-fungible thing that happened, this event, this occurrence, this code, and then that's it. It's non-fungible. It cannot be copied. It is unique.
But you could sign it over to someone else if you wanted to.
Yes, yeah. But you can verify the issuer, and you can verify how many were created.
Are they still doing the bit where there's residuals paid when it gets auctioned off or sold?
Look, man, they're doing what they want. I have no idea.
No. I read something casually about this. I didn't know if it was true or not. That's why I'm asking.
What was the question again?
Whether or not they're still doing residuals. Like, if I create an NFT and I sell it to you, and when you sell it to someone else, I get a piece of what you get for it, and so on and so on.
Yeah, so my buddy Ken does that. And so I just went down to Miami for a conference about a week and a half ago that had a lot of gaming stuff involved and a lot of NFT and stuff involved. And what I put out ahead of time was I said, if you're making money in NFTs, I'm very happy for you, but leave me the fuck alone. If you're making money in DeFi, I'm also very happy. But these things do not expand freedom, so don't talk to me about them. So while I understand them and how they work and everything, I try my best to detach myself from them.
Well, what kind of freedom? I mean, shit. If I can take some of the comics I create and, like, say, make NFTs out of the covers, and all of a sudden I'm getting $500,000, that's freedom for me. I mean, I just made some money.
Right. So the NFTs are cool in that they give an individual artist freedom, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what's
good for them because
right,
artists get fucked over pretty badly in the current regime.
Yeah. Like people that I talk to that go, "Oh, NFTs have no value whatsoever." I'm like, name me like one bad boy artist that has ever existed that hasn't like talked shit on record labels, that hasn't talked shit about intellectual property rights and how they're owned.
Well, not until after their contracts
I
run
can
out.
talk to some that don't talk shit, but I know internally the mayor had problems. But I don't know.
Like Roger Waters, you saw the news about him this week, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I mean, he's pretty well set. He can afford to tell Vios to fuck off. But the thing is, we saw the same thing 25 some odd years ago when Levi's wanted to license Holiday in Cambodia, and Jello Biafra said fuck no, and the rest of the dead Kennedys said fuck you, and they sued him for stopping it because they wanted to make that Yankee dollar.
Yeah, so think of it this way: it's a step towards decentralizing IP rights.
And goddamn if that ain't freedom.
But I mean, it's not freedom the way that like Pirate Chain
It's
is
freedom to not pay 2 cents for your literally 2 cents for your artistic work. You actually get some worth out of it. It's collapsing the monopoly and the stranglehold that companies have on artists.
All right, so in the big freedom scheme of things, I don't think that it's really that much freedom. Yes, it empowers the artist, right? It empowers the individual. But the problem is these people, and I've seen this very much firsthand, they don't extend that into looking for further freedom. All they care about is themselves. So when you have something like Bitcoin, where nation states can bite the hand that feed and say, I don't care about you, IMF, or, like our currency
what
is
about
getting...
the individual who decides they want to be an artist, and instead of being told, kid, you're never going to do anything, you're never going to make any money, and instead they make money and they have a good life, and they don't feed into the machine?
Then look at the misfits.
Misfits are usually the artists.
No, the misfits.
Oh, the band. Okay, what about them?
A bunch of piss-broke losers from Jersey that made their own sound. They recorded all their songs on the first take because they couldn't afford to do more, and they became absolute icons, right? They never had to get onto a big label. They were rejected by labels for the uniqueness of their sound. That is what ended up making them so damn rich. They were forced into being an NFT. They were forced into being self-sufficient because they weren't acceptable. And by virtue, or by coincidence, rather, their name was the Misfits. But it was never the intent or anything like that.
No. I mean, everybody wants to get bought out at one point or another. That's the only way to make money in the market. And if that wasn't the case, then I think we'd see more artists and more art. And God knows we need more of that and less bullshit.
Well, guess what? These fucking NFT pieces of art still have to go out through an auction house. And the auction house decides who they're going to carry, and the auction house decides what their take is going to be.
And I bet you what, the auction house is probably a little more fair than ASCAP.
Agreed. But the thing is these people.
You can tell an auction house, fuck you, you can't have my material.
But
and what do you tell a record label? Well, we really want to be famous, so yeah, give it to us up the ass.
No. What you're misunderstanding is they won't look past themselves. They will never seek further freedom, and that's the problem. So if it goes, okay, well, now that I can like issue my stuff via NFTs, and that is going to make me more money, it's preferable. I don't have to deal with the bureaucracy of a label or anything like that. Fantastic. Well, it's like, well, that person's never going to get into, well, privacy is important and ring signatures are important and, VPNs and stuff, because people lose their jobs over political contributions, or because people can't get online freely in other nation states, or any other reason that you might have for privacy. They'll never get to that point. They don't care about freedom. Yeah, they care about them making more money.
Yeah, well, no, so they care about their art. I mean, look, I deal with people in the comics industry every day, and I see people who are husband and wife, both holding down 9-to-5 jobs, and they're creating comic art, and they're making a few pennies off of it because they love what they do. This is the opposite of the kind of person you're talking about. You're saying, oh, all they care about is themselves. They don't care about people in Bangladesh not having clean water and internet. Of course they don't, because most people don't know that. Back in the 80s, we didn't know about the starving kids in Guadalajara until they started putting them on TV at 7 o'clock every night in the middle of the dinner hour. I mean, the thing is, when I'm out there trying to make my dollar, right, when I'm doing my work, my art, I'm not thinking about the people over in Ding Ding Land who can't have clean water and have to shit in a common hole. I'm thinking about, hey, am I going to be able to pay my rent next month? Am I going to be able to pay my electric bill come the summer? So, yeah, they're not thinking about that. They're not thinking globally. They used to say, think globally, act locally. Well, that shit doesn't float anymore because we're all 2 weeks away from being homeless and out of a job.
So I'm glad that you brought this up because I've had this little monkey on my back for the past couple of weeks. And I've been really, really angry about the security posture in blockchain and cryptocurrency, mostly because I see these things as freedom expanding tools and nothing but. Any other use of them is a complete and total perversion and a shortcoming.
And you're gonna have
So
that.
anyway,
You're gonna have that for anything. Anything is
right.
gonna have that.
So anyway, I was okayed for a talk down in Miami like a week and a half ago, right? And the person I told the person I wanted to talk about security, and they put me down for an OPSEC talk, and then I thought about it, and I was like, there is nothing but OPSEC to these people. There's protect my body, protect the information that surrounds me, and protect my keys, right? And this is one of my big major gripes. These people, because they know about OPSEC and because they protect it and because they look into it further, they have this Dunning-Kruger approach to security as a whole, where they're like, well, I know OPSEC, so that means I know everything. And now the problem with blockchain and cryptocurrency is that it's decentralized. So you have your miners over here, you have your devs over there, you have your bag holders over there, you have your shilling paid influencers over there, and you have all these actors in the space, none of which will ever hold each other accountable for due diligence of any kind, right? And then so the devs look down to the chain and they go, well, the chain's secure, and I have fucking dev goggles on, so I'm not going to say that my code is bad, and I don't want anybody poking through my code, and there's no budget for it. We can't come up with a budget because we're decentralized. And the bag holders don't care because they just want to see the price go to the moon. And nobody can care about security in the cryptocurrency and blockchain space. They can't because they don't know about it, and no one has the obligation to learn about it. Because and the worst part is, on top of not having the obligation to know about it, they already think they know everything about it. Tell me that's not a serious problem.
It's a typical thing. It's users versus creators.
No,
Well,
it's not.
Look, if you've got a 1988 Toyota and you step on the brakes and the car stops, you're not thinking about, did the guy who made the brake pads get paid a fair wage for his day's work? You're like, hey, my car stopped and I get to live another day. Users versus creators.
No.
There's a line in the sand where people just don't care. People just don't care.
Let's take a comparable project that's centralized, okay? Let's talk about Wells Fargo or any other big bank. Here's what you end up with over there. They understand what their like risk-reward margin is. They understand what their compliance obligations are. There are people in charge of this. There are entire heads. There's a hierarchy, and heads will roll if there is a big breach. So their avoidance is about a big breach, not about stopping anything at all, because they are FDIC insured and they have all these backup mechanisms that don't exist in blockchain and cryptocurrency, right? So the centralized system is incentivized to be much more secure than the decentralized system.
All right. Let me clarify a couple of things. First of all, there's a difference between proof of work and proof of stake. Okay, so mining specifically goes to proof of work, but what you do have is what's called trusted validators. Okay, and it's only partially decentralized. And statistically, proof of work has 50% redundancy. I mean, you got it's fairly redundant. Whereas proof of stake is only 33% redundant. So, it's more centralized. So there's a couple of things there. And not all cryptos work the same. I mean, Ethereum does smart contracts. And they've used it. There's things that actually function on the Ethereum blockchain, the mainnet. And they fork off of that. And so, a lot of these NFTs are based on more of an Ethereum smart contract type of thing than Bitcoin, which is a simple, here's a coin, you mine it, and there it is. And there's a limited amount. There'll be 21 million and no more.
Hello, Brandon. All right, guys, let's wrap this up if you can, because I'm going to get to sleep.
Well, I understand.
I'm trying to control my OCD, and I'm thinking about the only way I can do it is knock myself out. But,
All right, hold on. I have to punch back Barry real quick. I love you very much, Barry. When I was talking about miners, I wasn't saying that miners were culpable of doing anything bad other than actively not supporting due diligence when, for example, say the project that they're mining is on Ethereum, right? No one's going to. So we're now talking about application security. Well, the people that develop the project, they're going to have the goggles on. They're not going to want their code looked at. They're going to rely on the Ethereum security as their own security. And they look at it as an audit, something that happens after the fact, rather than assessments that happen during the course of building. And it is a piss poor security posture that no one wants to better, knows how to better, or even knows how to engage a security consultancy. There's no interface for a decentralized project to work with an established, supportive provider, security provider.
Actually, quite a few of them do, and I think Ethereum is one that has done quite a bit of that. And remember also that a lot of these cryptocurrencies are the miners are different. Okay, you got several flavors of miners. Okay, I mean you got T-Rex miner, and you got Team Red miner, and NB miner, and LOL miner, and that all those will do many crypto algorithms. Okay, so it is the developers create the algorithms, so they have to vet their code, and then the miners also have to create something that's secure. Now, a lot of these miners I don't like. They'll open up like a SH shell or an HTTP instance on the local network and stuff like that. I see this stuff popping up, and I want to turn that junk off, even though it's going to different ports. It's not default ports. And if you're using something like HiveOS, I mean, you can log into the website and control your miner on the web. Okay. And so, yes, I see some security issues with that because that's cloud-based. And once I saw that, now everything that's HiveOS is on a separate VLAN and goes straight out to the net. So, there's a bunch of things. So I understand this.
Well, so another interesting thing about Ethereum mining is before Ethereum mining, there was Bitcoin mining. And Bitcoin mining was get your hash rate up, find those blocks, secure the network. Okay. Yeah. Ethereum mining got to the point where it was like leapfrog other people, gamify it, and win more blocks through savvy rather than virtue of securing the network. And so this leads to people going, okay, well, you know what? Maybe it's not so good of an idea to mine Ethereum if there's going to be too much competition. Maybe we should get into speculative mining, or let's get into burst mining, or let's any of the other mining games. But the idea of securing networks is long gone, and it's now the miner goes, A, I have to pay my bills, and B, I have to make the most amount of money however I can.
It may not be a chat delay. Maybe I'm just not noticing it too much later. I'm talking to Brandon Stella, I guess. Guys, I'm going to end it because I'm going to get off to do something. And
yeah, we kind of gone off in a tangent on this. I mean,
I can leave it running for you all to keep chatting if you want.
I love all of you. No, I don't think we need to keep chatting. Barry, have a good night. IronGeek, do it. Adrian, Delchi, I still love that picture.
All right, see y'all next week.
All right, take it easy.
All right.